actually have depression. Ah, shocker. But you're so bubbly all the time. I have BPD. I'm a bad friend because I disappear and never hang out anymore. I hate being around others. It's not true. Usually I'm the most positive and happy in the room. It doesn't take away the person that you are. And here, your depression does not define you at all. So don't let it. It's the happy, bubbly people that are unfortunately the most sad. Hi to those choosing to watch my video. Today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be reading you guys' misconceptions on when you say you have depression. I wanted to make more of these videos to obviously bring awareness, right? A lot of us unfortunately have depression and feel like we can't really express it or admit it. Kind of just letting you guys be heard, even from a bunch of strangers online. But I do not claim to be a professional. This video, like I said, is just for bringing awareness, for comfort. If it resonates with you, I strongly urge you go seek professional help and advice if you do have depression, which I do have information in the description of this video down below for that. I also just want to thank all the random people who participated on my TikTok post. But before we get into the video, be sure to like and subscribe. We gotta support our small content girlies out here. I did hit over 200 subscribers on YouTube. Hey! Thank you. So definitely like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of me and these type of videos. A lot of you guys' misconceptions really hit deep and we're gonna dive into them. Before I get into you guys' comments, I did want to share one or two of my own personal misconceptions that I feel like I tend to get when I tell people I have depression who, one, don't have it or just can't grasp the idea that it's possible for me to have it. I'm pretty sure this wasn't mentioned in any comments that I got, but I would say the main one is that you don't need to have something traumatic happen to you to have depression. It's how your brain functions. It's not always about what happened to you or what's happening around you. You can very much have a healthy household and have no traumatic things happen in your childhood and still get depression. I think some people do take it a bit offensive. It's like, oh, like I raised you, I gave you everything you want, you have a roof over your head, how could you be depressed? I just feel like that's a very ignorant thing to say. That's not how depression works. I think a lot of people need to educate themselves on depression and know that it's chemicals in your brain. It's how your brain functions. Now, that's not to say that traumas can't, because it very much can, but again, everyone's different. It's not always something traumatic happening to you to have depression. Robin Williams, for example, you know, he was a comedian. He did a lot of movies and was this bubbly, silly, funny guy, also comedian, and committed suicide. And there's more to go with that list, which that's a whole other thing, right? It's just, and he had money. That also proves that, I guess this can lean towards another misconception, that money doesn't cure depression. Having a job doesn't cure depression. Again, Robin Williams, like I said, like he was an actor, he was a comedian, and yet still, you know, he committed suicide. Although I don't really know his situation of how his childhood was, but that was just kind of like an example of someone who has money, who had plenty of money, I'm sure, and still felt the way that he did and did what he did, which was unfortunate. But back to my first one with, you know, you could have like the most loving family and friends and support system around you, but still feel the way that you do. And we shouldn't invalidate ourselves either for that, because again, we can't control how our brain functions, okay? So don't blame yourself and beat yourself up if you feel like, oh, well, nothing bad necessarily happened to me, so I shouldn't be feeling this way. Let alone have someone tell you that. Don't do that. You very much are allowed to feel that, despite how your household may be. It's very much real and valid. I guess that's my misconception, because I have told people, and they're kind of like, oh, like, you're not depressed. When it's like, how are you going to tell me that I'm not depressed? First off, I did go to therapy, counseling. Okay, and got diagnosed with depression. So it's not like I'm just, pulling shit out of my ass. I actually have depression. Shocker. I feel like that's like a big one for a lot of people, unfortunately, I see online, who share their stories and their feelings online. A lot of people have to keep it to themselves or feel like they need to, because so many people just don't understand how depression works. Sometimes, depression really takes a toll on you, and people think, oh, well, if you're working and making money, you're not gonna feel that. Girl, I've had plenty of jobs throughout my life while having depression, and I'll tell you what, it's still there. It still creeps up. It still lingers. It doesn't just go away like it's a cold. Let's now get into you guys' misconceptions that you get about your depression. Someone said, but you seem fine. You have your job, you're married, have friends. Yeah, and I still feel depressed as fuck. And don't want to be on this realm anymore because my brain feels like this battlefield of stuff I never asked for. I think that kind of goes with, well, first off, thank you for sharing that. I hear you, right? It's just people think, oh, like, you have a house, you have a family, you have a significant other. How could you possibly be depressed? And again, it goes back to, it's not always about how people are treating you or your relationships with people or your household. It's just how our brains function sometimes. It's the chemicals in our brains. You got the whole thing: kids, family, house, pets. So how could you possibly be unhappy? Not even just unhappy, but depressed. And it's like, again, people who don't have depression don't understand that it's being sad and being depressed are two very different things. Are they both in the negative feeling categories for a human? Yes, but they are two drastic different things. Sadness goes away over time. Depression doesn't necessarily ever really leave. At the end of the day, you do have friends and your husband, and as long as those are people who actually validate your feelings and stick by you and know that you have it, then that's like, it's a good step. Because it sucks when nobody knows and nobody understands, But thank you again for sharing and being vulnerable enough to say that. Also, you saying that you never asked for it, and it kind of just shows up one day and you're like, what is this feeling? Of course, you come to a point where you beat yourself up. You're like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to have this. Sometimes it can feel like a burden for sure, but you're only human. You can't help it. Don't let it define you and take away the amazing human being that you are and the fact that you're meant to be here. We're all meant to be here. We all have our own stories to tell and to live, and unfortunately sometimes we have some deep stuff in our chapters. But your depression does not define you at all. So don't let it. Next comment is, but you're so bubbly all the time. I feel like a lot of people feel this way about me because I am a very positive, uplifting, kind, bubbly person, and you don't need to be this negative, mean person. Depression doesn't change how you treat others. For the most part, some people, sometimes it does, but for most people, it's not the case, especially when you have functioning depression of kind of like being able to still live your life and have it kind of coexist, but it's still there. That sucks the most, because then that's how people take it as, oh, like, well, you seem fine. It goes back to Robin Williams as a prime example. He was making people laugh, right? He was joking, making people laugh, masking, hiding, and pretending. People expect you to always be down and negative even around people if you have depression, when that's not the case. So this next one says, you are too happy to be depressed, then the look, with this emoji. Again, it's just people being ignorant and not understanding depression and how it works, and that's fine. Not everyone understands it, especially people who don't have it. But it's like, hey, educate yourselves if you know people around you have it. If people tell you they're feeling depressed, that's not something that you should invalidate. I think maybe you should be there for them and see why it is that they're feeling that way and why they even have it. That kind of goes back to the other one of being this bubbly, happy, positive person. So it's like, how could you be depressed. Like, you don't give off depressed vibes. When it's like, yes, depression can take control over you of not feeling up to doing anything and canceling plans and stuff, but it doesn't change who you are as a person and your morals and personality. Not like it's a one feeling. Like, you can still feel all the other human emotions while having depression. It's just like not the right response to say to someone. Then this person said, "Really? You are so bubbly and bright. I have BPD." Bubbly, positive, and happy are a lot of keywords people use to invalidate your depression, as you've noticed from the previous 2 comments so far. Now, I'm not a professional. I don't know everything. This is just my personal experience of having depression and how I go about things. I don't think I have BPD. Sometimes I question it. I obviously can't speak much for people who have BPD. Like, I feel for those who have it. It's still somewhat similar in just the depressive road. So many beautiful souls out there of people who unfortunately feel what they do and think the way that they do, and they don't have control over it, right? It's not just like, I'm gonna tell myself I have depression and I have it. It's just like, that's how our brain unfortunately programmed. Really important to just have people around you who want to understand, want to learn more about how your brain functions and how BPD or your depression is, and being able to do everything that they possibly can on their behalf to be the best support system and friend, lover, family member towards you with it. Simply be there for them and know that they're not alone, I think, is a better response than saying stuff like that. A lot of the times it's the happy, bubbly people that are unfortunately the most sad. This one said that I'm relatable or being funny, but I'm deadass going crazy and actually will drain people around me with my sadness. This is a little different from the other ones because we aren't trying to, that's why a lot of people feel like they need to isolate and push away from people when they're feeling depressed, because they don't want anyone to feel the burden. They don't want to have to deal with that. Yeah, sometimes it really takes a toll on you where you can't do anything, and you don't want to bring that energy on people, not in a sense that you're treating them poorly intentionally and being a bad person, but it's like sometimes it takes control over your lifestyle and things you want to do and things that you're up for, right? It affects your social battery. It affects your motivation and your efforts sometimes, right? A lot of times people cancel on plans, aren't going out as much, and start ghosting people. A lot of the times when people do that, they're like, I don't want them to feel that. I don't want them to have to deal with that. So I get in a way what you mean with draining them. The most important thing, like I was saying before, is just letting those around you be aware of it and know that you are dealing with that and that you have depression or whatever it may be that you're going through mentally. And so then they can at least understand a little bit of what you're going through, because if you don't, there's a lot of miscommunication and it can come off as you just being a bad friend, when that's not the case. I mean, a lot of us do use dark humor though, like you're saying, of being relatable and being funny. A lot of us, I am someone who, you know, uses dark humor with my depression. It can be relatable, but it still is like, okay, but like deep down, like, this is my lore, this is like how I'm feeling, you know, it's still real. Even if I'm trying to make ha. It's just your way of coping with things, and not trying to always be sad about it, and trying to make somewhat of light of situations, even if it's very much your lore. I do want it to be like relatable in a sense of, you know, you're not alone, it's very common, and that you're not being punished on this planet. Just communicating those things and having the right people around you who know you and understand somewhat of how you handle things and go about things, and are feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. And this next one kind of goes to what I actually was just saying about, you know, being a bad friend and everything. This one says that I'm a bad friend because I disappear and never hang out anymore when I pray to God for a good friend to grow old with. A lot of you guys' comments have multiple likes on them, so I hope people liking your comments shows you that you're not alone and that they get exactly what you're saying. A bit of what I was mentioning with the previous comment, it's like, one, it's so important that you I keep saying this because some people feel like they can't, but you really should, especially if you know they're good friends and they're good people, is making that very, very clear. Like, hey, this is nothing personal. Okay, I'm really depressed. It's just my social battery isn't there. I don't mean to hurt you. I don't want to lose you. It's just I can barely hold my own baggage, let alone other people's right now. Obviously, you don't have to word it like that, but it's just like letting them know it's nothing personal, that you do still want them in your life. It's just like you're in a really hard place right now and you just need someone to hear you and see how you can move forward with it without either one getting hurt in the process. That can be very hard, especially having friends who just like take it personal and are like, oh, well, you're a shitty friend, I don't care, like, bye. When it's like, instead, maybe you understand where they're coming from and just have a conversation of just like, I hear you, I see you, I'm here for you, and you know, I'm not going to pressure you to hang out, but I want to help in any way that I can. Your mental health and well-being matters most, and that should be the number one top priority, but that doesn't mean you should be just cutting off friends and disappearing. Especially if they're good ride or die friends, you need to inform them and let them know, and just go from there. The right people will stick by you through everything, all the hard times, all the ups and downs, especially with your mental health, but you have to make it known, and you just have to make sure that you show up for yourself, most importantly. But if it's in a situation where it's like, because I've had friends like this in the past, where they just don't really understand it and take it personal, instead of realizing the severity of the situation, you know, it's just like, you will find your people if you feel like you don't have them yet. You will. Nobody on this planet is meant to be alone, okay? And you're definitely not alone. This video is proof in itself. But yeah, you're not a bad friend just because you feel the way that you do and how your brain functions. But it's also just giving them some sort of clarity and understanding of the situation does help, so there isn't any miscommunication at all. This person said that I hate being around others. It's not true. I like company, but not loud people all the time. I honestly get that, because it's like, I'm a family-oriented person, but since I have depression, it made me realize I like my alone time. I need to decompress. It is healthy to have alone time, but not for a long period of time, to the point where you're a hermit for months. You know, still try to make appearances, even if it's just you going to a store. Just because we have depression doesn't mean that we don't have friends, that we're loners, and that we don't like being around people. Like I was saying, it's just, we carry a lot of baggage, and it's like, sometimes it's really hard to deal with others in any way. Sometimes it just gets really overwhelming and overstimulating. Functioning with your depression, you can very much hang out with your friends, hang out with your family, and still feel that way. But sometimes it really takes a toll, and you can't. You can't fake it, you can't pretend it. Some days you feel it most than others, and you really have to step away from everyone to process and feel it alone. But I get what you mean by loud people. Sometimes it is very anxiety-inducing and just overstimulating. And this person said that you are always negative and sad. Usually I'm the most positive and happy in the room. Exactly. We're not going to carry that with us everywhere. I'm not going to say that some people don't. Depression doesn't change that. No matter how much control it takes of you, it doesn't take away the person that you are in here. Understand that you don't need to physically, visibly see someone crying and looking a mess to be depressed. Acknowledging that and understanding that with people around you. This was under a YouTube short that I made, and it said that if you have moments of happiness, then you aren't depressed or seem like you are. I know some of these all kind of are similar in a way of being happy, bubbly people, and again, that's why a lot of people feel like they can't share these things, because it's like, well, like, I still have my moments where I laugh and smile and have a good time sometimes. You're still allowed to smile through the hard times. You're still allowed to laugh and have good days and good moments while feeling depressed and down. It's not just, you only feel sadness all day, every day. You're only human, and you still feel all these different emotions for different things. Kind of similar to all the others that I feel like I've said. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's just so important to understand that you're allowed to be happy while being depressed, and don't make people feel like, oh, well, now I can't have a good time because I'm depressed. You're still trying to live your life, and I think that's amazing and a beautiful thing that you still can laugh and find outlets and things that are making you laugh despite what's going on up here. I think that's beautiful, and you are strong and brave for that. Don't make people feel like you have to be sad all the time, and make that known everywhere you go, every room you enter. We're all human. We're trying to figure things out. This is all of our first times living. And yes, people have it worse than others sometimes, but depression and mental health is such an important thing for everyone. That shouldn't be invalidated just because of your living situation, or because you happen to smile or you happen to laugh. It's still how you feel deep down on the inside, and that's what matters most, and shouldn't be brushed off just because someone saw you smile or laugh or looking put together, so they dismiss it. Thank you all so much for being vulnerable and sharing your misconceptions on when you say you have depression. Part of me wanted to make this video because I think a lot of people are shocked when they see that I make a post or something that's like, hey, I'm actually, I was just posting like a thirst trap TikTok of me lip syncing, or just posting a photo of me, and then I'm over here like without makeup and just being like, hey, like, so I just don't feel like existing, like I'm just feeling really down, like depressive episode. And some people are like, huh? And social media is not real. We all want to show us doing our best and looking our best on social media. I still like to show I'm human, and that social media is fake. And despite what I'm posting, this is how I feel, this is what I go through. And so that's why I also want to make these videos, to kind of just show the real me and not hide these kind of things, because that's what leads a lot of people, unfortunately, going down routes like Robin Williams and many other people, not even just celebrities, just regular people on this planet who feel like they can't express these things with anyone. And communicate and be honest about it and embrace it, make it known, and don't let anyone make you feel invalidated for what you're going through and what you're feeling. And it's also so important that you have the best support system of people around you who are aware of it and still stick by you. Those are the people that you need. Of course, professional help, counseling, therapy. I hope any of those who feel like they need it, you go seek it. So many people have depression on this earth, and it hurts me every time I see a TikTok post, Instagram post, or some sort of post online of people just showing how down they are and feeling like they don't have anyone. And that's why people post online, because they might not have that support system of people yet in person, so they just, it's a cry for help essentially. And thankfully a lot of people see it on their algorithm and can let you know by them liking and it going viral and sharing that, like, hey, you're not alone. Don't let anyone make you or feel differently, let alone say otherwise about how you feel. Take care of your mental health. Strive to do better and to feel better, because you will. It's just a step by letting one other person know. Even if it's under this comment section of this video, you are precious, you are special, you are important, and that the way you are feeling about yourself, the way your brain functions, does not define who you are as a person. And also, don't beat yourself up when you have a day where you feel great and then the next day you don't. Healing takes time. You're gonna have your lows and your highs. It's trying everything you can in healthy ways to continue living your life. I hope in some way this gives you motivation and inspiration, comfort of wanting to do better, knowing that you will get better. And not in a sense of that you're broken or damaged, or that having depression is wrong or bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that your better days will come and that you are no different than any other person on this planet, despite how your brain functions. Everything will work out as it should. You will be okay. It won't always feel like this. We all can do this. We all just have to believe in ourselves. I believe in you. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around and watching me read some of you guys' misconceptions about your depression. Just know that you very much are supported and validated, even by someone random like me and people watching this video. And by all means, if there's any misconceptions, which I'm sure there's plenty more that weren't mentioned in this video, definitely comment down below. But yeah, remember to be easier on yourselves and stay positive. Other than that, you guys will see me very, very soon.